So
It's a degraded service for 549.
on the overnight part of it, yes. Yes.
Have you looked at other areas to save money? I know right now they have DCS machines that are close to our DDCS machines for you that don't know anything about it, that process the mail. In like Beaver Dam, Portage has it. Did you ever think of bringing that mail into like Oshkosh to be done, and then you could cut those machines off, and you would have savings?
We have brought probably dozens of CSBCS sites into plants.
But there's still some out there that could be. Madison right now can't handle all its mail, and we're going to be doing more mail now in Green Bay with 549 and their mail. So if they can't do it, Madison with a larger facility and more machines, you're asking a lot for one facility to do it. But you might be better off moving some of that other mail that they're not able to do right now into like our office, so that our machines are more utilized.
We are looking at getting rid of the CSBCSs in this district and bringing them into the plants. That is additional savings, you're right, and that's on the table right now that we're looking at. I would also like to say that we have reduced carrier routes in this district also with the volume of drop, and the service hasn't changed. Now, we will continue to look at carrier routes also, and as the mail volume continues to drop, we will continue to take carrier routes out also.
Okay, we also talked earlier, you said first class drop-off will not be affecting the 549 area. That has to be addressed because at the Oshkosh facility, you can drop off your letter at 8 o'clock at night and it'll still be processed. You will not be able to drop off at 8 o'clock at night to get into Green Bay. So the first class mail for this area will be affected when you drop your letter off and try to get it out that night.
That is correct. You will not be able to drop off a letter at the Oshkosh post office at 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, you said that the first class mail would not be affected. It will be.
Well, it'll be the same. It's still an overnight commitment. It's just going to have to be dropped prior to when the window closes right now.
Right now, the window will stay open till 6:30, and the blue box on the collection, it'll be treated like every other post office in the United States, and the collection box time will say 6:30 for your outgoing mail.
I've got some other questions on how big is the Green Bay facility, square foot wise?
Roughly 101,000 square feet.
How big is the Oshkosh facility?
Roughly 99,000 square feet.
I believe it's actually a little bigger than that, but I believe it's 120,000 square feet.
Oh, that's not the numbers I have, but okay.
Yeah, that's the blueprints. Everything should be able to fit in Oshkosh, correct?
I didn't hear your question.
Not my questions. If everything can fit in Green Bay, then everything can fit in Oshkosh, correct?
No. No, because Green Bay has roughly 70 carriers in their building occupying over 12,000 square feet.
How big is the workroom floor in Green Bay?
I don't know. You asked me what the square
Yeah, I know.
footage of the
Yeah,
buildings is.
because that would be a better way to affect it than is to look at the exact square footage of the workroom floor. Is it true we don't have to move our carriers? Is it true we don't have to move our carriers right now in Oshkosh?
I'm not sure what the question, I'm not sure.
Oshkosh carriers, I guess, are at the annex,
The annex.
and we don't have to move carriers where Green Bay will have to move carriers.
We're still looking at the carrier situation. We own the building there in Green Bay, and we're looking at how we'll handle it. Again, this is a study, and we're determining everything.
You also own the annex here where the carriers are and our facility. So you own both buildings here.
Yes, we understand.
Where there you'll have to lease a building.
We do not know. We have other proposals that we're thinking about.
Steve just talked about, to get that 1,200 square feet, you'd have to move the carriers.
To get the DBCSs into Green Bay, we have to do something with the carriers to capture that 12,000 square feet.
Correct. Karen?
Yes, we will.
You'll have to move them.
I do not know. We'll relocate it. We might do an expansion on the building. We're still studying all aspects.
You had a letter in the paper. We had a letter in the paper that said that you have no money right now to expand Oshkosh. I don't know if you read the article that was by the post office. And so if you're going to expand the building up there, then you should maybe consider expanding somewhere else too. Do you have more office space? Do you have more office space than Oshkosh? Does Oshkosh have more office space?
I can't answer that. I don't know. I would say Green Bay has, just by visual observation, Green Bay has more office space.
I would just like to ask you that you're asking your questions and you'd like to give the people behind you.
Okay.
Like, I know
Thank
that,
you so much for your time.
well, I just, out of courtesy,
I'd like to thank you so much for your time.
He has better things to say than I do, so I would like to keep hearing him.
well, he can get behind the line again. I just don't want anybody to miss an opportunity.
Thank you. My name is Jeff Hall. I'm a member of the Winnebago County Board here. And I have a statement, but first I just have a few disjointed questions and statements that have occurred to me as I've been listening here today. It sounds like you've done a study that shows that you can save $4.6 million if you were to close Oshkosh and move all that operation to Green Bay. What is the time frame of $4.6 million? Per year? 10 years?
Per year.
Per year?
Per year.
So you've done this study and you know you can save $4.6 million per year. However, just jotting down the things that you don't know, I wonder how you came to that number. And I've had to add a few more in line, so that's why it's going to be more disjointed. You don't know the size of the workroom floor in either building. You say that bulk mail will still be accepted in Oshkosh, but you say that part of the savings comes from selling the facility. So where will we take the bulk mail?
We will still have a window presence in Oshkosh.
Okay, where? But you said you're going to sell the building. That was part of your savings. That was a statement you made earlier.
We will still have, if we move, we will find another place to have a window presence for the customers.
And do you know what the cost of that new place will be?
We're still looking at this.
So once again, that's another savings that you don't know. You don't know if you'll have somewhere to put carriers in Green Bay so that you can capture extra space. You don't know the amount of office space in either area. You don't know what the cost would be if you were to consolidate from Green Bay into Oshkosh. I guess one of the questions I had is you talked about the savings in time from the pieces of mail that are shipped from, and I think you said 14,000. I could be wrong because I didn't get that number down, but the amount of mail that's shipped from Green Bay to Milwaukee and Madison. How many pieces of mail a day are shipped from Oshkosh to Milwaukee and Madison?
It's probably about the same.
See,
about the same.
So there's another thing that you don't know, even though you've done this study.
That service standard doesn't change.
But it does, because it now has to go first north and then drive right down past.
But we're still obligated to make sure it's overnight delivery. It doesn't change.
Okay, but when you said that, when you talked about why you would move to Green Bay rather than staying in Oshkosh, you said because it only affects 4,000 pieces of mail to Portage, as opposed to these thousands of pieces of mail elsewhere. But you don't know the corresponding number of mail pieces in Oshkosh. I'm having a lot of trouble with, and this I just have jotted down here because as I was walking up here, we had a great presentation showing us all your technology and all of the innovation in the post office and how complete this study is, but it's impossible to move a city into a new zip code. design systems for a living. We do it all the time. I guess I don't understand how you can't just drag and drop it, but if you don't mind, I'd love to hear what the challenge is to doing that.
If you're a business located in Oshkosh right now, and you've got letters printed up and stationery printed up, and you've got all sorts of other things going on, and you go, Postal Service comes in and says, we're changing your zip code. You have nothing to say.
But you don't have to change the zip code, you just have to change where it's processed from.
No, you have to change the zip code.
I think that right there, more than anything, you might have found the problem with the post office. If you can't just say that we're going to route 54968, where I grew up in Princeton, which by the way is pretty far from Green Bay, through Madison, which it's closer to the Green Bay, just by saying, hey, we're going to send these here instead, I think that could be a major problem with your systems right there, but I only work in computers. I have to echo, I wrote down exactly what Mr. Harris said before. If you're still sending the same amount of mail pieces to and from the same number of places without degrading any service, but shipping them first all to Green Bay, how do you save transportation costs?
In this study, transportation is actually an increase. Now, there are...
You stated you would save transportation costs. Yes, you did. I have it. Then your statement was that you would save transportation costs. You said it, actually you said it after another statement I have here. You said it right after the lady's statement about how she's not familiar with our bulk mail, which is another problem I have, that you did the study, yet when someone asked about their specific bulk mail processes, your answer was, I'm not familiar with your bulk mail. And then you said, well, some of the savings comes from transportation. It is something you said. I don't know if they're taping this. You said. And several times, you keep saying it will save $4.6 million, but your response to many questions is, well, we haven't gotten that far yet. How far have you gotten that you can say a $4.6 million figure when you haven't gotten far enough to answer many of these questions? Now, when I spoke to some of the mail workers here and some people in the community, the statement I wanted to make before I was actually fairly semi-outraged by some of these statements was the post office is an important part of the infrastructure of a community. And when you talk about infrastructure, that's like saying we're only going to have power service at certain times, or